Well, good morning, everybody. It's still winter. My hands are freezing. I should have worn gloves to drive here today. So let's rub our hands together and make them nice and warm. It's so good to see you all again today, and I hope you're having as much fun as I am. What an amazing, amazing group we have gathered. So you've got your pens, you've got your paper, and I'm actually going to use a pair of scissors today. I'm also going to use some Scotch tape, but you probably won't need to do that. Last time we learned how to make capital letters, and let's just go through these. A, B, C, D as in Dick, E, F, G, H, I, K as in Kate, L, M, had a little trouble with the N, didn't I? N, O, P, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, and we were really hurrying on the end because I realized I was going way over my time. So I finally looked at everything we've been doing, and quite impressive, actually. Today, we're going to start right out by writing a little saying, okay? So I'm going to use my fine 2.0 calligraphy pen, and I'm going to use a clean piece of paper, and I'm going to write, to me, old age is always 15 years older than I am. So we're going to start with the T. Remember, 5 degrees, and then across, a little foot. O, I made it too small. Let's start over again. Bigger. T, capital. There we go. Me. Nice short word. To me, comma. Old. O. L. D. Oops, I should have done that in one stroke. Old age. A. G. E. Is. I. S. How is your S coming along? Have you been practicing it? Mine is still struggling. Always. Let's see, how about if we start right here? Always. A. L. Down, up, up. A. Oh, I have a gap. Y. And S. Always. 15. F. Remember, the crossbar goes on the waistline. 15. I. F. And what makes things calligraphy? Uniformity. You want to make sure that all your letters are in the same direction. And remember, the T is tiny. 15. E. E, N. Remember, the N is between the waistline and the baseline. That's where the intersection is. Years. Ooh. Y. E. All wrong. Let's try it again. Y. E. A. R. S. Older. O. L. D. E. R. Then. Remember that T is small. And the crossbar is on the waistline. H is a little bigger. And then we have an I. And there are many ways of making an I. I like this one. It's straight. Little goes above the waistline, and it has sort of a foot and a head on top. I am am. There you go. To me, old age is always 15 years older than I am. Now, I'm going to cap my pen, and that's really important on these felt pens, because if you don't, they dry out. Okay? So now, I'm going to take this piece of paper, and I'm going to cut this into strips. Can you see that? So I'm just going to cut them into strips. This is why I wasn't so nervous when I made a mistake, because I knew I could just cut it away. Now, what's important is that if you're using paper that is unlined, be sure to use a ruler and draw yourself some lines. Even after 60 years of doing calligraphy, I still have to draw lines, and if I don't, my letters are not uniform size. So here we go. We cut them. Into the right space. Now you're probably wondering what we're going to do with this. Well, this is all about using our fingers today, and not just for writing. We're actually going to learn how to center without using the computer. Okay? To me, old age is always 15 years older than I am. And what I want to do is I want to center this on a card, probably, eventually. Okay, so how do I center it? I find the center of my piece of paper. So this piece of paper, let's start with the margins. So it says right there would be the center. Okay, and let's do it again down here. And then one would draw a tiny, thin line to make sure we can find the center, right? Okay, and then we take this paper, we fold it in half. Okay, and then we use our Scotch tape, and the fold goes on the line. Preferably straight if you can do it, right?
Ursula, pull the paper over this way just a little bit.
Okay. Always 15 comes next, and so again we want to fold this in half, and we place it on our line that we drew on our paper, and then we attach it. Of course, you can use that sticky tape that is already available on a dispenser or any other method that you prefer. The next one is years older than, so we'll fold that in half and attach it with 2 pieces of Scotch tape, and make sure you're not going crooked here. You know, I have to be really careful so I don't end up with a slant. There, that's good. And then the I am is the very end. And again, even though it's just small, you know, when you're first learning, follow the instructions. Later on, you can just eyeball things. But right now, we want to be somewhat careful, okay? All right. Now, the ideal is to use a white piece of paper, and you should be able to see what you have written there. You see that? Of course you can't, not with this camera, but I can see it, and all I have to do now is copy it. Let me show you how cool this is. Okay? So here we go. And this time I can't make any mistakes because I have it all written down. And all I'm doing is copying, so to me. Comma. Old. And if it isn't perfect, it's okay. You did it. Age. A. G. E. Is. I. S. Always. Next line. Here we go. A. L. M. No, always. W. A. Y. S. 15. Ooh. Can you imagine in 15 years, I'm going to be 90 years old. Wow. And then I'm going to be old. But then I'll say, no, I'm not going to be old. I'll be old 15 years later. And remember, some of you like the F's to go below the baseline, and that's okay. You get to create your own. What's important, once again, is consistency. So once you decide on something, stick with it. Sort of like life, huh? 15 years, Y, E, A, R, S. If you are no longer getting skinny lines and fat lines, it means that your felt tip is getting soft, and then it's time to invest in a new pen. O, L, D, E, R, then small t, crossbar on the baseline, H, A, N, well, that's good enough, I, big I with a little foot and a little head, M, A, M. Wow. Now, can you see this? Isn't this cool? So you can do it on paper that isn't ruled and use copying paper, white paper. If you use cardboard, what I would say is go ahead and make your pattern and follow all the steps we just did. What were the steps again? Number 1, write it out. Number 2, cut it out. Number 3, paste it on. Number 4, copy it. And if you can't look through it, just have your pattern right by the side and draw your lines. Draw your lines with a ruler and make sure that you're at right angles, you know. So here we go. I want to have 1/2 inch. I'm going to start with the 1, and I'm going to go to 1/2, and then to 2, and to 1/2, and then to 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Start with the 1, maybe. And 1/2, and 2, and 1/2, and 3, and 1/2. This is really hard when I'm supposed to be not covering up the paper. So, and then you can draw your lines, okay? And I wouldn't push the pencil too hard. I would do it very, very softly, as eventually you're going to erase them. Okay? And remember, you have to have a baseline, you have to have a waistline, and then you have to have room for ascenders and descenders, depending how big you make these things, you know. So I skipped 2 lines right here, and then when I write it and I'm all finished, I just use my eraser and I go over it, and it's all gone. And even if there's a tiny little bit left over, it's okay, because people will know that you did this by hand. And if it's perfect, you might as well have used your computer, right? So it's okay, just don't misspell the words. That would look pretty crummy. All right, do you have any questions? We were making numbers, so I showed you how to do the number 1. It starts with an up line, and then you go down. Number 2, is just around, and then some people make the bottom line straight. I like a little curve in there. Number 3 usually goes below the baseline. So if you look at house numbers that are made out of metal or cut out of wood, you'll notice that the 3s are usually a little bit bigger than the 4s. Okay? And on the number 5, you also go below the baseline. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have number 6, number 7. And again, I go below the baseline, and my old German instinct wants me to cross the 7. If you don't want to, you don't have to. 8. 8's sort of tricky, so you come around. There. 9. I like to go this way. And of course, you need a 0, right? Did you know that the 0 was invented by a mathematician in India? I just learned that yesterday. Pretty cool, huh? So I want to show you a couple of things in this book which I have used many, many times. Once you get better, you can use a compass and draw circles on your paper. Okay? You want to start with the smallest circle in the middle, and then determine how big your letter is going to be. If you're using a small nib, remember you want to have about 4 little squares that you're measuring. Remember this? Go like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the right size. If you want your letters bigger, use a bigger nib, then you have to extend your circle a little bit. So from this point to that point would be 1/2 inch. If you're using a wider nib, probably 0.7 inches. You also want to draw your diameters in there to make sure that your letters are all pointing to the center. That's a little tricky and it takes practice, but it's fun. And then you can practice to go all the way around the circle with your alphabet. Nothing has changed, it's still the same alphabet. You might have to turn your paper around so you don't have to make the Y and the Z upside down. Or you can choose real words and say happy birthday and do it twice. And on the inside you can put the date. So this is a real fun thing to write in a circle. You can also write in a spiral, right? Look at this one. The nature of God is a circle of which the center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere. And you start with your compass and you make the first little circle right there. And then you put your compass point on the beginning line and the pencil point on the end line, and you go there. And then you just keep going and going and going, depending on how much you're going to say, right? And of course you want to make it double so you can fit the letters in between. Right now we're going to practice some decorative borders. Why? Because they're fun and they make things look really, really neat. So let's see if we can do some of these. So I'm going to start on a new piece of paper. And we're going to use the X to start with. So you go like this, remember? And then you go like that. And you put your next one over, make a little line, and again. Once again, what makes it really fun is if your letters are perfectly in line, right? And this is sort of boring, but if you get a whole line of these, it makes them look pretty cool. And then you can go on and decorate this a little bit. You can put a little comma up here. What do you think of that? And you can go all the way around the outside of your card, okay? If you want to go in the same direction, you just go like this. And this time we're just going to put a little dot in there for variation on a theme. Okay? And if you don't like that one, you can make O's. Make a whole line of O's. Maybe not as big. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. And if you want to get really, really fancy, you can use a different color pen and decorate your O's with a dot in the middle. I doubt that you can see this in color, but the O's are red, and I added blue dots. And again, I'm going to just make like a little backwards comma right there to give it some more interest. What do you think? Doesn't look bad, does it? And then you can just go down and descend, or you can use your pen and you can go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, the important thing is to make them as equal as you can. If you don't like that, you can make W's forever and ever and ever. 45 degree and up. 45 degree and up. 45 degrees and up. And all the way across the line. And if they're not perfect, it's okay, because we're going to decorate these too, and the decorations will take them away. Remember to hold your pen at a 45-degree angle. And this nib is starting to get soft on me because it's no longer sharp and skinny. So you can maybe add a little line in there. Or if you don't like a line, you can draw a little upside-down triangle. And that's what I meant about decorating this, so it doesn't become so obvious that some of your lines are not perfect. Or you can add a wavy line. If you want to make a more interesting corner, you can add an O right here, and then turn your paper and make more W's going down this way. Yeah, some people really like to go like this. Under their signature, or above it, or in between it. Or you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. When you do that, your starting point should be where the ending point was from the last line. And again, if you hold your pen correctly, it looks like a little zigzag, doesn't it? Okay? If you would prefer, you can do it with a space in between. Ooh, that was not a good one. And then you can do one up at the top and one at the bottom, and you end up with a little diamond. Or you can use spaces. So if you make a diamond here, don't make one there, make a diamond here, and maybe there. Yeah? And again, practice makes this a real wonderful thing. I would stay away from too many curves, because curves are really much harder than just straight lines. I also wanted to show you that you can make nameplates, and I would draw one, cut it out, and then use it as a tracing mechanism. This particular book has some cheat sheets in it. You can make ovals. Let me show you the oval ones. They're really pretty. No, that's not the oval one. Let me try this again. There. Okay. So you want to make yourself a template, an oval template, and then depending on what you're going to do, you can write in there. This one would be for your grandson who was born on the 15th of May. Let's use a short month, right? And the year is 2000. Okay, you can decorate it by using different colors, or you can put a little decal in the middle. So I received one like that when my son was born 47 years ago, and it's still hanging on the walls. So they really become heirlooms. Again, you want to start out with some kind of a pattern, because otherwise it doesn't work. So here are lots of templates for ovals in different sizes, and you can make your own. They also have templates for a balloon. Well, I don't think you need a template for a balloon. You know how to make a balloon all on your own, right? So, do you guys have any questions? You don't remember how to make an H. Okay, let's make an H. Okay, shall we start with the little one? Okay, pen, 45-degree angle. Start at the ascender line, go down, come back up. Intersection is halfway between the waistline and the baseline. Okay? One more time. Pretty easy. Okay, now let's make a capital one. So you want to go down, give it a foot, and go down again. And this time I'm going to start like that. And then your crossbar is halfway between the waistline and the baseline. One more time, okay? Down, give it a foot, not too big. And on this one, I'm gonna start with a little curl, come up, and go like that. Of course, capital letters can be as embellished as you want to make them. You know, when they were writing the Bible, the book of Kells, the initial letter is so amazing and so beautiful sometimes. And those monks had time, just like we have time right now. And so you can make them as fancy as you want to. Any other questions? You don't remember how to do a P. Well, P's are important because Peter starts with P, and Peter is my son. So remember, if you're going to just use the small one, it has an ascender. It goes down all the way. One more time. 5-degree angle. Come all the way around. Okay? If you want to make a capital P, go to the ascender, straight line, give it a foot, just like we did on the H, and then come around. How's that? We can spell PH now. Isn't that acid? Do you hear my telephone ringing? I wonder who that was. Okay. Any more questions? No? Well, thank you for being part of this class. It's been great, great fun. And if you have any questions, just write them down and send them to me. I'll answer them for you. Take care and goodbye.